But I got money in the bank, gold in the safe, data in the clear. I got more in my waist. Done the whole shit, I can let it go to waste. Hold up, hold up. But I got money in the bank, gold in the safe, data in the clear. I got more in my waist. Done the whole shit, I can let it go to waste.
This live stream may contain content that could be perceived as shocking or offensive, but it is presented solely for educational purposes. Viewer discretion is advised. We strive to adhere to community guidelines, and any potentially sensitive material is shared with the intent of fostering understanding and learning.
All right, yo, what's going on, guys? Good morning. It's your boy, Typical Security Guard. I have an update on the Seattle security guard shooting. Now, when the story first broke, one of my concerns was that they were saying that this person is a security guard. He wasn't working in a security capacity. He wasn't employed by anybody at the shopping center. However, they continue to say that this is a security guard shooting. There's some information that just came out about 30 minutes ago. I'm going to switch my screen over to a story that is coming out of Renton, Washington. The story is written via KOMO News. The video credit that I'm going to be showing is going to be attributed to NBC24.com. So let me pull the screen up. Let me do this. Hang on a second. Let me make sure that everything's working on my end. So I'm going to pull the screen up here. So we'll add that there. All right. So I'm just going to go ahead and play the video. We'll bring that in. Stand by. All right. Here we go.
That's right. They say it is for a reason. In these court papers, charging documents, prosecutors say this is not the first time that suspect mistakenly accused someone of committing a crime. And in this most recent case, they say it led to the death of a teenager.
In these newly released court papers, authorities paint 51-year-old Aaron Myers as an overzealous, paranoid security guard.
This is not just prosecutors believing that this is a murder case. This is the police who investigated, who referred it as a murder case.
Bolstering that allegation, stunning new details in these court papers, with Myers allegedly shooting the teenage victim 6 times in the back.
I just would, for the record, like to say that there is always a justification. Anytime that there's a shooting that involves a police officer, rarely when it involves a security guard, but in the immediate aftermath of this shooting, there were a lot of people who were making excuses for why a 17-year-old or a group of 17-year-olds would be walking around with airsoft pistols. The story that the security guard gave is that he felt that he was stopping a potential armed robbery, that he did not have time to contact 911. That's going to be in the story that I read here, even though there were police officers in the parking lot at the time. The overzealous nature of this person to engage these youth, his implicit bias as to what he thought, his unwillingness to wait and see what happens before taking action, and the absolute overkill to shoot a 17-year-old child 6 times in the back. This is literally what I talk about every single time that I come on here and make these videos. But there's other people out there, there's other content creators, there's other people in the space that routinely will talk about the fact that the onus is on the people. The same situation with the airmen down in Florida. The conversation is always about, why are people putting themselves in this situation? Why are people doing something that's leading to this type of outcome? Why are people making stupid decisions? We're never putting the onus on the people who are supposed to be trained for this type of engagement, whether that's a security guard, whether that's a person in an EDC environment, or whether that's a person in law enforcement. We're putting all the onus. I've heard so many conversations this week about how stupid it is for 17-year-old boys to walk into a store carrying what looks like firearms. I don't have this conversation or take this stance lightly because I was literally in this situation. I had a stupid individual walk into my store carrying a firearm with a 30-round magazine. My first thought was to draw down and start to give him orders. But my feeling was there's people directly in front of him. There's people everywhere. If I take this action, what's he going to do? If he runs further into the store, now what? If he turns around and he lifts the gun, now what? If he grabs this person and takes them hostage, now what? There was a million things that went through my mind. But the one thing that I had to lean on was that I can't take my round back if I send it. I can't. So I better be sure. When the cops finally caught this guy, I'm not going to go through the whole situation of us getting him outside. When the cops finally got this guy on the ground, found out that the gun was fake, that the magazine was real, they said, "What the fuck were you thinking?" And he said, "I always heard that Oregon was an open carry state. Someone just gave me this gun. Hey, do you want this?" And I said, "Yeah, I thought it was cool. And I didn't want to conceal it because I always heard that this was an open carry state. I didn't point it at anybody." Mental illness, lack of understanding, or just plain stupid. He made a mistake that could have cost him his life. But should it have cost him his life? And that's the onus of that goes on us as the trained professional. If you're carrying a gun for EDC every day, you're supposed to be a trained professional. There's a level of understanding of using that firearm, carrying that firearm, owning that firearm. There's a responsibility that comes with that. If you want to call yourself an armed security guard, you're signaling that you've gone through some fucking training. There's a level of responsibility. I watched a podcast yesterday with 4 Navy SEALs and 2 Green Berets. Jake Zwig was on there. A great podcast where they were breaking down the shooting of the airmen in Florida. And one of the Green Berets said, it is not acceptable for police officers to make mistakes. He said, you have the ability to take someone's freedom and take their life. And you're able to do that from behind a badge. So my expectation of your decision-making, my expectation of you being able to make the right decision in a split second, it's higher. And yes, I understand that it's a dangerous job. I haven't done it. This is his words. I understand it's a dangerous job. I haven't done it. I don't know what it's like. None of that matters. That's the job that you've signed up for. This is the responsibility that you have. So for all the people who try to justify the fact that this lunatic went out and shot a fucking kid, I hope that you're listening to what they're saying. I hope that you're listening to this. And I hope that you take time to assess whether or not in situations like this, your default is because the kids are black or because the kids are minorities or because the kids are poor, that they somehow did something to deserve this. These kids did not deserve what happened to them. That airman in Florida did not fucking deserve what happened to him. And I'm tired of everybody in the gun community. I'm tired of people in law enforcement. I'm tired of people in security guard creator space always finding reasons to justify why this is happening. This situation, and I'm going to continue the video, sounds exactly like George Zimmerman. Someone who wants to be involved, that time and time again has been told to stand down. Don't take my words for it. Listen to the rest of this video.
All of it when he accused that boy and his friends of trying to commit armed robbery.
There's a very big difference between the allegations here and what a trained professional would do.
According to prosecutors, Myers was an armed, off-duty security guard at the time of this incident, yet they say he had absolutely no jurisdiction to patrol this strip mall as a security guard in the first place. They also say this is not the first time Myers has made a mistake when it comes to being a security guard. Back in 2022, prosecutors say he threatened to shoot a bicyclist that he thought was carrying a weapon. Yet when police responded, they say that the person carrying that supposed gun Well, it was actually a silver metal object that may have been part of the bicycle.
Myers is currently at the King County Jail. Again, his bail, $2 million. Coming to you live from Seattle tonight. Ryan Sims, Como News.
All right, so I want to read this to you because the video, you know, I appreciate the video. It gives you a little bit of an update, but there's some very important information that needs to be said. All right, so I'm going to read this coming from Renton, Washington, KOMO News. The King County Prosecuting Attorney's Offices in Washington State officially charged an off-duty security guard with both second-degree murder and second-degree assault for the deadly shooting of a Renton teenager. As part of the charging decision, prosecutors said 51-year-old Aaron Brown Myers shot 17-year-old Hazarat Ali Rahani a total of 7 times, including 6 times in the back. Prosecutor argued that Rahani could not have posed a threat to Myers since the teen was allegedly facing away from Myers at the time of the incident. For all the slow people in the back that are saying that he reached for some sort of firearm, posed some sort of threat, this is a 17-year-old child laying on his fucking belly. The homicide occurred June 5th outside the Big Five sporting goods store on Grady Way in Renton. In court filings, police noted Myers was an off-duty armed security guard despite having no authority to conduct security services at this specific location. Police said he told them that he offered overwatch, which I'm assuming is that he isn't employed there, but he's going to keep an eye on things. Kind of like George Zimmerman was performing neighborhood watch. I'm just drawing a parallel here, okay? I don't care about your political view of the Trayvon Martin situation, who also was 17, interesting, at the strip mall because of rising crime in the parking lot there. Police said Myers was waiting for his teenage son to leave jiu-jitsu class as the martial arts studio next to the sporting goods store where 3 teenagers walked past his car. According to court documents, he observed one of the teenagers carrying a gun that appeared to be a Glock pistol. The suspect believed that the group was going to commit armed robbery at the location, noted investigators. Police said Myers told him that he felt he didn't have enough time to call 911 to prevent the alleged armed robbery. So to protect his son nearby, he said that he had a duty to stop the individuals. So if he saw someone walking into the store carrying a Glock pistol, Washington is an open carry state. This situation is verbatim what I was involved in 2 years ago. The person that walked into our store was carrying what looked like a Glock pistol. In order for you to act in some sort of self-defense of yourself or a third party, 3 things have to be met. The means. So if this person is carrying a Glock pistol, does he have the means? My wife is off camera here. If someone is walking into a store, she's not, super versed. We're just going to ask her, okay? She's not an armed security guard. Somebody's walking into a store with a Glock pistol. Do they have the means to create grave bodily harm or injury?
Yes.
Okay. Pillar number 2. If they are in a location where there are other people in close proximity, do they have the opportunity to commit grave bodily harm or injury?
Yes.
Give or take, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It was a hesitant yes, but yes.
We're getting close. We're heating up. Okay. When they're walking from point A to point B and walking in front of the car, do they have the intention to commit armed robbery?
We don't know.
Well, why don't you know, Morgan?
Well, if there's not an active, to me, if there's not an active crime in progress, meaning you are watching them raise the firearm or point it at someone because they're trying to carjack them. Or,
So wait, hang on. So the suspect believed that the group was going to commit armed robbery at the location, noted investigators. Police said Myers told them that he felt that he didn't have enough time to call 911 to prevent the alleged armed robbery. And so to protect his son nearby, who was in a different location, he had a duty to stop the individuals. How would he have known they were going to rob the store?
Well, he doesn't know.
Which means
that all three pillars were not met.
So you shouldn't
Shoot people.
And short of any objective reasoning of these three pillars, if you get out of your car and go, hey, motherfucker, and point your gun at these people who don't know you from Adam, now guess what they've seen? The means. Now you have the means.
Mm-hmm.
So now you have a gun pointed at them. Do you have the opportunity to create grave bodily harm or injury?
Yeah.
If your gun is pointed at someone and you've said, hey, motherfucker, freeze, and you're not a cop, and they turn around and look at you, can they assume that you have the intention to harm them? Yeah. So let's just say that you did have a gun on you. Would you then be justified to pull your gun and go, hey, motherfucker, get away from me? Yeah. So if we're all in agreement that were the case, and then you as the armed security guard who now knows that they're saying, it's not real, it's not real. If you go over, put the people on the ground, try and take something from them, and they struggle, can you then claim self-defense while you shoot them 6 times in the back? My uneducated on firearms etiquette and training wife who's off camera. No.
I was shaking my head. They couldn't see me. Sorry.
So we just did a concealed carry class in 3 minutes. But I can point to videos where active duty law enforcement officers, where active firearms trainers, where people who are supposed to be sound, sane, moral individuals will minus everything that I just told you in this situation and question whether or not the kids were at fault. Somebody make that make sense. I get criticized for always like the thought process is that I'm somehow anti-law enforcement, which I'm not, that I'm somehow an apologist for people that commit crime, which you know good and goddamn well I'm not, that somehow I am all about de-escalation and people putting themselves in situations where they have to be the victim because I don't want them to do something proactively, which that's not the case, right? Am I the only person that's just looking at this information from the lens that we're told we're supposed to look at it through?
I mean, I can answer that.
Please.
But that I have.
Please, no, go ahead.
For the longest time we've been together. You give too much credit to everyone, me included, and I would assume 99% of anybody watching this video, people are fucking stupid. I have said that from day one. You give too much credit to people, and people are fucking stupid. You do have the ability to critically think about things that not many people possess. I've met one other person who can think the same way that you do. Admit, like, that is your second nature. Your second nature is that, and everyone else it's not. And I don't give a shit if I offend anybody on there, but it's just not. You give too much credit to people. And so, yes, like, you are the only one who sees this, and people buck against. Do you know what it is? It's no different than we start dating and you start talking about, we talked about racial issues, and I didn't fight you because everything made so much sense. It makes oneself feel stupid when someone says something to you and it's so fucking simple or easy, or it makes so much sense. It seems like common sense when you hear it. And then you go, why didn't I think of that? And that feeling of people being told something, it makes them defensive. They don't want to be like, wow, and engage in a conversation to further lean into what you're telling them, right? They want to buck against that.
You know what it is? There's a segment of the population. This goes back to my earlier video this week about implicit bias. I'm gonna stop using the PC word. It is what it is. It's fucking racism.
Thank you.
There's too many people out there in society in general, and a lot of you are in the law enforcement community, you think that these people deserve it. You think that they deserve it. I don't know the first thing about these three kids. They could be the worst kids on earth. They could be honor students for all I know. What I do know is that they're 17. I'm damn near 46 years old. I'm still making stupid mistakes. I'm still fucking up. And too many times in situations where young Black kids are killed, the conversation is that they're supposed to have some sort of understanding of life and situations and what is going to happen 3-4 steps down the road. Grown men don't have that ability. Grown men don't have that ability. You think when I was having an affair on my wife that I thought, hey, 20 years from now when you're applying for a job, they're going to ask you why you got fired and you're going to have to talk about that. I was damn near 30. I didn't think about that. I didn't think that, hey, do you want to have a potential future where this might come up as a question as to if you can be trusted in the work environment? Because I had that affair at work. So that comes into question on, are you a responsible steward of the position that you're in? Can we trust you in a position of authority to not have an affair with someone who's under you in terms of employment? You think I thought about that? 30 years old, business owner, homeowner, father. No. But when a 17-year-old does something stupid and gets shot in the street, everybody wants to act like, well, he should have fucking known better. You should have fucking known better. It's your fault. It's not the grown 51-year-old man that should have known, sit your happy ass in the fucking car. Or at the very least, get up, go into the location where your kid is, lock the door, tell everybody what's going on, get them to a safe location, hold guard, call the cops. Oh. But you know what? That ain't the cool shit. That ain't the tactical stuff. You don't get to act like a cop if you do that. What would the story have been if that were the case? Security guard goes into location next door, protects 18 kids and staff, calls the cops. The cops arrive and they find 3 young men who are returning airsoft pistols. After the entirety of the situation was found out, this offered a great opportunity on the importance of how to return something that looks like a firearm. But the secondary thing about this is the brave actions of this 51-year-old off-duty security guard. The fact that he sprung into action, protected these kids. This is what we need more of.
Responsible gun ownership.
Responsible gun ownership. This guy's on news. He's on Oprah. He's getting flown out. He's getting flued out, right? Whole different story. But no one in the tactical side is pushing that. You go to all of these, I'm going on a rant here. I don't fucking care. You go on all these YouTube channels that are teaching tactics. And the security guys watch these channels. I'm not going to call these channels out. You know who I'm talking about. They watch these channels where their entirety of their show is talking about engaging the threat, engaging the threat, engaging the threat. You see a guy, you think he has a gun. You come in from this angle. You take a position here. You take cover here. You do this. You do that. All well and good if you have qualified immunity and you can articulate that you were scared when you did it. But guess what? 51-year-old security guard, you don't have that. Whoo, sheesh. All right, I'm going to finish this without ranting.
Your rants are the best, though. I like your rants. Say it.
I can't be like, I don't get why when I have this conversation with people, when I have this conversation with cops, they're like, Immediately after, police said Myers told them he exited his vehicle and pointed his security guard issued gun at the three teenagers. It's exactly what I just said, commanding them to drop the firearm and put their hands up in the air. You ain't got no damn authority to be doing this shit. At that point, police said the teen who carried the gun complied with Myers' order and threw the gun onto the ground. According to court papers, Myers, this is the guard, then grabbed the teenager so the boy would be unable to retrieve the firearm that was on the ground. Okay. As this occurred, police said Myers believed that Rouhani was grabbing for a gun located in the teen's waistband. At that point, the police said Myers then fired 7 times. After the initial shots, Myers stood over Rouhani on the ground and continued to fire. That is absolutely despicable.
Jesus.
Rouhani, 17, died at the scene. Police said security video showed Rouhani only briefly lowering his hands towards his waist and said throughout the interaction, Rouhani's hands were empty. At no point did he have a firearm in his hand. According to investigators, the teens were carrying airsoft guns. According to the 2 surviving teens, one of the boys was dealing with functioning issues on the airsoft gun and wanted to take it back to Big 5 Goods to either return it or exchange it. Now, there were some questions by some people as to, well, if the guns were fake, why would they be carrying them? We're going to just say gangster style. Let's just assume, we're going to assume, this is what people are saying.
Okay.
Just hear me out.
Yeah.
If you take a gun and you put it in the waistband of your sweatpants without a holster, they call that felony carry or gangster carry, because that's what the black guys in the hood do. Okay. All right. So in law enforcement circles, okay, if you see someone doing that, that's supposed to be an indicator. Okay. As you know, per your training and experience, this is an indicator that this person is probably up to no good.
Okay.
I didn't make these rules, Morgan. I'm just telling you what it is.
So it's like the equivalent of,
Sure.
you know, like how people go, yeah, this isn't really what it is.
That's not what that means.
That's not what
That's
that
not
means.
what that means. All right. My point is, what was my point?
Well, you were talking about, they were talking about.
Oh, no. Okay, yeah. So people will say that, like, that is leading to people seeing them in a certain light. Why would they do that? Kids do stupid shit. I have so many friends. I have family members. I don't want to throw my kids under the bus, but I will just say that kids who come from good homes, kids who come from good environments, take pictures, make videos, make TikToks, and do shit trying to act gangster. Right? There's videos of people that I know, I will not name any names, that are throwing up what they think are gang signs, are, you know, doing the money phone. Like, people do shit that they see in hip hop videos and they think that it's cool. I don't think that it's smart. I don't think that it's wise, but it's also stupid shit that kids do. And that shouldn't cost them their life. All right, this is the last part I'm going to read on this. The 17-year-olds were trying to tell the suspect they were just BB guns, but the confrontation intensified so rapidly that, unfortunately, who wrote this? Who wrote this?
The name will be on there somewhere. Look for it after.
The 17-year-olds were trying to tell the suspect that they were just BB guns, but the confrontation intensified so rapidly that, unfortunately, the suspect's gun was fired, said Megan Black from Renton police. What do you mean, unfortunately? He shot this motherfucker 7 times.
Yeah, a misfire is that motherfucker dropping the gun while trying to subdue
Right.
the
We got
kid,
it right. We're
and
wrestling.
A shot goes off. That is unfortunately. That is an unfortunate.
You see what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Just that right there is exactly what I'm talking about. What do you mean, unfortunately? He went over there, grabbed the kid, stood up, and shot him 7 times. Is it unfortunate? Yes. Was it an accident? No. And you're making it sound like an accident. Newly released court documents, prosecutor said this was not the first time that Myers chose to intervene when he believed someone was armed. For the record, George Zimmerman had been told multiple times before going after Trayvon Martin to stop. It's not your job. Cops are on the way. Just saying. In March of 2022, the defendant followed a person carrying a metal object. We already saw this. All right. All right. That's it. It's enough of that. Good Lord. Thoughts before I have an aneurysm over here? Can I have some more coffee, please?
Yeah, this whole fucking story is just crazy, and it's reminding me of the one that happened that we just talked about last week in It happened last year, but the one in Kansas City where that teen went to like pick up his siblings or whatever and knocked on the wrong door, and that motherfucker just shot him through the door because it just
the kid in Missouri.
Yeah, the kid in Kansas
City. Thank God he lived. Right, he lived.
It's fucking terrifying, is what it is. It's absolutely terrifying. And do you know how many kids that I went to school with that kept guns visible in the back of their trucks, on their dash, from handguns to rifles, right? Parked in the school parking lot, and like under no situation or circumstance, if you would have been pulled over by county highway patrol or your local cop, like did they ever
hang on a second? Okay, so Joe H here says I saw a guard get murdered for shooting a guy that was actively hitting him with his car. Joe, I don't know where you live. I'm from Oregon. I know the company that you're talking about is Cornerstone. I did a video on that situation, and I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt that you're saying this because you think that that's what happened. That's not what happened. If that's what you believed happened, if that's the story that you were told, that is exactly what I'm talking about. Is that people are justifying someone getting shot. The situation that you're talking about, the security guard, number one, was not licensed. Number two, was not licensed to be carrying a firearm. Right there, he shouldn't have even been there. Let's put that aside. He's working. He's working at a location where he's supposed to be doing interior security. A person stole $3 to $6 worth of pallets, allegedly. Takes the pallets out of the back of the like the nursery area where they have the flowers and the plants, goes through the parking lot. The security guard gives chase. Security guard gets into the security vehicle and positions his car to block in said person.
You're okay. Keep going.
Somebody come in?
No, I just see a big truck. You're fine.
Oh, all right.
Go. Keep talking.
Blocking in said person. The person gets into the vehicle. The situation's over. There's no longer any issue, any problem whatsoever. The security guard is now basically creating a de facto arrest. He's not allowing this person to leave. The security guard takes a thing of pepper spray, puts it into the vehicle through the back window, and pepper sprays this individual and the person that's in the car with him. Then he proceeds to go and get in the front of the truck. The person is revving the engine, and he has every opportunity to move out of the way. The person revs the engine, and the security guard shoots 6 times into the window and kills the guy. He did not hit him. He did not almost hit him. He was nowhere close to hitting him. This guy should not have been working, was not authorized, was not licensed, was carrying somebody else's firearm, and shot a person over $3 worth of fucking wood. And if anybody is telling you that he was justified to have done that, the court system disagrees because he's spending life in prison right now. Warden says security will forever be in the shadows of law enforcement. Remember, D, security can't look at things like that as indicators or even act, as we will get crucified with extra steps. Absolutely.
But
we don't get
security guards watching this should know to stop looking at fucking law enforcement and have the critical thinking to realize you don't get the same privileges as police officers. Like, it ain't that fucking hard.
It's not that difficult.
It really isn't that difficult to even if you watch just to gain more knowledge, whether it's tactical or anything, whether it's just to gain more experience or training or think about things differently. It ain't that fucking hard to realize you can't, you wouldn't, and you shouldn't act the same fucking way that a cop would.
It's not that difficult.
It's not that difficult.
Our job is so easy. Stand here, let somebody know if you see something. In the 0.0001% chance that something happens, try to de-escalate. If you can't de-escalate, move.
I have a question for you. Is someone stealing $10 worth of items worth, at minimum, a court costs and fines, and at maximum prison time for however long a time? Is someone stealing $5 or $10 worth? What would happen to you if you did that?
It's not, but the problem is that like people can't have a 360-degree view of it. It's not worth spending the rest of your life in prison. It's also not okay to just openly allow everything to happen, because if you allow theft to just happen all the time, then stealing Red Bull becomes stealing shoes. Stealing shoes becomes, hear me out, stealing cars. Stealing cars becomes robbing the store. Robbing the store becomes murder. But at the end of the day, you need to understand that and be able to work within that. But I told a security guard yesterday, you can't care more than the people that are signing your check. When it comes to work as a security guard, all the time I see guards who are frustrated. Man, this is bullshit. They just want me to stand here and be a scarecrow. Yes, motherfucker, that's what they're paying you for. There are jobs out there where you can get hired in security and they will put you on top of a nuclear reactor with an M4 carbine and say, if anyone passes this red line, shoot them. Okay, then go get that job. There's jobs out there where you can work in maximum security prisons. Hey, this happens, get involved. But at the level that we're working, me included, and other people who I know, people that follow this platform, the level that we're working is, hey, stand here and report what you see. Be the person who calls the cops. You're in charge. You're responsible for being the person that calls the cops when things are starting to go south. You're responsible for directing the average person who never thinks about this kind of stuff. You're looking at your job as a security guard the wrong way. You serve a purpose. You do. Most of the people who are working in a grocery store, they never even think about what to do when someone comes in, starts throwing everything, knocking everything over. Most people just freeze. And that's how they end up getting hit, getting hurt, getting shot. If you're the security guard on site, your job is not to come in and shoot the motherfucker. It might at some point in time. But what they're expecting you to do is to be the same voice that comes in. Hey, everybody do me a favor. Back up. Sir, we don't want to fight with you. Hey, listen, I'm not here to fight with you, bro. Call the cops. I'm not here to fight with you. Hey, the cops are coming. The cops are coming. Okay, look, no problem. Take the drink. Take it. Take it. Yeah, fuck him. Don't worry about him. Take the drink and just go. Just go. Just go. The cops are coming. And then when he leaves, cops show up. What do they look like? 6'4", Native American, gray shirt, black shorts, black hat, drunk off his ass and screaming. He went that way. Cops take care of the guy, come back. Hey, Officer Bunting here. How can I help you? Okay, I need a report. I need you to tell me what time everything came in. Do you guys have camera footage? Yep, let me get that for you. Great. All right, here's my card. Here's the case number. District attorney decides to prosecute. He's going to contact you, and we'll see you at court. That's your job. You're jumping the gun and trying to do the cop shit.
Literally.
And you don't need to. Yeah, literally.
Literally.
And you don't need to. Like, be okay with that job. Be okay with that job. I'm going to end this here, but there was a point in time, I've never talked about this. There's a very famous program that started at a historic black college by a friend of ours. And when he did the test program, he had to show the state police that he could operate a police academy. And so they brought me in to do the physical fitness for this police academy. All right. There was a guy who his only job is he was a nurse. He was a certified nurse. And the police department in one of the areas close to where we were, they were going to put him on the SWAT team as a combat nurse. He had to go through this academy to get the post certification, but his job on this SWAT team was only going to be the medical guy. I'm assuming that he would have a firearm, but they weren't hiring him to be the door kicker. They weren't hiring him to be clear rooms or to be a sniper. They were like, we need you to be on this team so that when we're engaged in a situation, if something happens to one of our officers, we want you there. We want the combat medic right there at that moment. He was getting paid great. He had a great job. He was so excited about that. Now imagine him as a basically a combat medic in that situation, going to a scene where they've called the SWAT team out, and he runs to the fucking front. They'd be like, Joey, what are you doing? I can't just stand by. I can't stand by and watch somebody rob. I can't stand by and watch somebody steal. I'm the tip of the spear. I've been watching YouTube videos. I'm trained. They would be like, have you lost your fucking mind? Get in the back. Kenny says, just because someone has a gun, that's not a threat now. If they were to wave it around and pointing it at people, that's a different story. Absolutely. Means, opportunity, and intent.
As someone who's an off-duty security guy, the guy who you're talking about in this, I don't know shit about shit when it comes to a lot of the laws, and especially not about any other states surrounding us, right? But you would think he would know his own laws of the state that he lives in, meaning if Washington is open carry, or you know what I'm saying? We know that Oregon is, except for Portland or Portland proper, Multnomah County or whatever, right? Like you have to have blah, blah, blah. So I just find it crazy that.
But you know what? The problem is that gun laws do not, by and large, apply to Black people.
Well, yeah.
It is what it is.
Well, the 2A community.
In the 2A community, there are countless videos of people doing a Second Amendment audit where they put on a rifle and just go walking down the street. Cops show up. Hey, what are you doing? Hey, I'm under statute 75392. I have the legal right to walk down the road. My firearm is safe and on my back. You are being recorded. Some situations escalate, but there's way more videos of cops going, all right, well, okay.
Kind of scaring people. Just
yeah, you're scaring
around.
people there, buddy. I'm not going to tell you ain't got the right to do what you're doing, but yeah, fuck off. Take the walk of shame, motherfucker. And the cops are like, all right, let's go. And then there's videos of Black people trying that shit. Woo! I'm doing a Second Amendment audit. Put your hands on your head. You know what I mean? Oh my God. I'm just doing and then the hokey pokey starts. Put your left foot out. Put your right arm up. Take your left hand and make a semicircle. Don't blink at me, motherfucker. It becomes a whole different show. So, in a perfect world, people wouldn't do stupid stuff on either side. That is the entirety of my message. It's stupid on both sides. It's stupid for the kids to walk around like that, yes. And it's stupid for the guy to think that he needs to jump out of his car and engage that situation. Okay, I'm exhausted. This dude says every time a Black Second Amendment, Right. Every time a black Second Amendment audit happens, it turns into an immediate felony stop. I want you guys, people think that I'm like somehow, all right, last rant. I swear, I swear, last rant, I swear. I swear. How is it that I am being accused of inflaming racial tensions or race baiting? Guys, I have a white wife. I have 4 biracial children. The reason why I can talk about white society so eloquently is because I literally have been immersed in it my entire life. Y'all don't know me and you don't know my background. I grew up in a white neighborhood, first generation black post Jim Crow. I went to a all white school up until like 6th grade, right? I have been immersed in coaching white children for over 20 years, right? The entirety of my existence is around white people and white society. I can talk about it because I literally live it. Why do you think I talk like this?
Ha ha ha. What is it that you said? Which is funny when people say that to you, like, "Oh, you're race baiting."
You're race baiting.
You're race baiting, or stoking the flames and whatever it is. What did you say to me yesterday when I said, "How was your day at work when you got home last night?"
I said, "Oh."
First thing out of your mouth.
Morgan asked me last night. She goes, "How was your day today?" And I said, "It was pretty good." I said, "I think I got called a nigger 3 times."
You said only 3 times. And I said, "Well, that sounds like
that sounds like a yeah. Hey, things
should tell people right there. We live in one of the most politically correct, Black Lives Matter. They can't see my air quotes. Supporting fucking city in the goddamn United States.
Getting called a nigger by a white person wearing a Black Lives Matter shirt is absolutely the height of irony, and it happens to me
all the time. All the time. How many times were you called that when we lived in the middle of redneck Missouri?
Never, because motherfuckers would never have done that shit to me short of me work. See, people say shit to me in my security capacity.
Yeah.
I've gotten into drop dead aggressive arguments outside my house where there's crackheads, right? The same crackheads that I deal with at work literally are living across the street in a trap house. Mm-hmm. I've gotten into 3 or 4 arguments that have gotten super heated. Super heated. Not one of them have tried that nigger shit. Not one. Because I'm not wearing a fucking security uniform. I'm not wearing a security shirt. They're talking to me as a grown-ass man. And regardless of how heated the conversations have gotten, those motherfuckers have always kept a good 15 to 25 foot distance. Mm-hmm. And there's a level of respect. There's a level of respect on this street between the lowest common denominator of people, because I've let it be known that I'm not fucking playing. And there's a difference. People know when you're at work and they know when you're in your natural element. And it's a completely different interaction. Y'all see me on video being professional. You see me doing my best to educate people. I'm not an aggressive person, but I'm also not the one. A lot of people that come on here, little snide comments and talking all that shit, if you saw me in person, you don't realize how big I am. Mm-hmm. You don't realize how big I am. And when you piss me off, you don't understand like what energy I'm coming with. Mm-hmm. That shit doesn't happen in real life. It happens when people know I got a paycheck attached to me standing in a location, and there's a little bit of chain around my leg. They know that. Just saying. All right. PBE says, I get called a fat nigger by homeless, white, or black people every time. I don't let them steal. One pulled out an axe, and when I challenge them, they stay away from me. Yeah, PBE is very well known as not the one to mess with. Warden says that sounds like a scene from Idiocracy. Dude, my entire existence in Portland is a scene from Idiocracy. You support black, but in the next sentence, you're using N-word. Okay, bro. I don't think I could contain myself during that. It would be very difficult. I am not making this up. People think that I'm lying, or I'm what's the word? embellishing.
Yeah.
People think that I'm embellishing when I say that stuff happens every single day.
The same people who marched out in the streets 4 years ago after George Floyd are the same ones who don't say shit in the grocery store that they shop at either when people are calling you that.
Crazy.
Like, no one speaks up, no one says anything, and every single person on this video will be like, "Boy, I'd speak up. I'd never stand by and watch someone say that." Yes, you would, because you are all the same people that are in there grocery shopping, and you hear a white person calling a black person that, you ain't saying shit.
Dude, here's what's crazy. Like, all right, here's the most, like, I'm trying to think of an example. There was an example that I thought was like so funny that if I ever wrote a book, I was gonna put it in. I had a manager once where dude comes in, he's like kicking stuff over, throwing a fit, he's screaming, yelling, going crazy. And then he leaves, he's like, "Fuck you, you fucking nigger, you fucking nigger." And the manager was like, "Hey, don't talk like that." And he's like, "Fuck you, you fucking nigger." He goes, "I'm not black, he is." And I'm like, wait, hang on. I'm like, wait a minute. I'm like doing the math in my head, like, this sounds like he's agreeing, you know what I mean?
Oh, the manager's the one that said that?
Yes.
I'm not black, he is?
Hey, don't call me that. I'm not black, he is.
Oh, shit.
I'm like, hey, excuse me. That kind of hurt my feelings.
Jesus.
Whew. Hey, all right. What a perfect segue. Guys, look, I don't want to end on a negative note, okay? Because this is negative. We've gone down a negative road. I want to bring something in. I was going to do this on a different stream, but we're going to
Do it now.
We're going to do it now to lighten the mood, okay? But it's funny because it kind of like is a little bit of a perfect segue.
Oh, shit.
I'm going to play this video for my wife, and I want her to give me her opinion. Y'all can chime in too. So let me write this. Hang on. Let's see here. Crazy situation. What are your thoughts? All right. All right, guys. Y'all get to watch this with Morgan. She has not seen this. Video credit is going to come from a guy named Kane's Life, KANZLIFE on TikTok. Okay, Kane's Life on TikTok. All right, here we go. Morgan has not seen this.
Yeah.
All right, you ready?
Yeah.
Time of when I thought I was a dad, but in the delivery room figured out I was not a dad. So, long story short, I was dating this girl. We'll call her Jane for the sake of the story. Well, Jane and I were dating for about 2 years, and she's pregnant, right? So, we get ready for the baby, buy everything that you need to buy for a baby, right? Delivery day happens. Me and my mom are in the delivery room with her. Her family was very unsupportive of her having a
Why are you giggling?
I feel like I haven't seen it, but I feel like I know where this is going to go, so keep going.
child, especially before marriage. They were unsupportive of her breathing before marriage. Well, after watching her give birth, which is a completely different fucking story, the nurse, after wiping the baby off, whatever, the whole shebang, nurse, oh, does dad want to hold his baby? Oh, well, as she's holding me, handing me the baby, I'm like, oh, my baby, not my baby. And I look at my mom, and my mom's already looking at me like this. And I'm like, fuck, no way this happened to me. And yes, before anybody asks, it was not white, okay? No, let's get
Pookie strikes again.
that one out of the way. Fucking, no, it wasn't white, okay? That's how we knew, all right? So, anyways, I still gave her the benefit of the doubt and got a DNA test. Yep, I'm that type of guy. I was like, on the off case that it has a fucking genetic disorder or something, I'm still gonna get the DNA test, right? Yeah, 0.03% chance. 0.03% chance. The only thing I had in common with a father was we were men. That was it.
Damn. Thoughts?
I mean, it's so cut and dried at this point, right? Like she done fucked herself. Like, well, I mean,
Hey, so there's a part 2 of the video, but I couldn't find it without like there's a bunch of reactions to the part 2. This first off, let me just say this to this guy, he seems like a great guy
yeah.
because he literally stayed with her until they got like everything figured out. He stayed with her, took care of the kid for like months until he got himself situated, moved on to a better situation, and kind of made sure that she was good. I mean, you know, he was like, hey, best of luck to you and Jerome or whatever. But I'm not gonna even go down the road of the baby dad and what that situation was. But this guy seemed like he was a good guy. He got caught in this bad situation. His mom in the delivery room.
To me,
she admitted. I mean, what is she gonna do? She admitted that she was cheating. She gave him access to her phone and let him. I mean, I don't know if that's like better or worse, but she basically let him like read all the text messages and back and forth, and you know, she came clean about the situation. But yeah, he seems like a really good dude and did everything to be as helpful as possible before dipping out, and he's on to bigger and better things. So
there is nothing like that. It's one thing. Every situation of someone cheating is different, right? And catching them. But there is, I feel like nothing so brutal as a pregnancy a baby being born that is the tail sign that your spouse is cheating. Like women, right? Men too, in terms of if you get another woman pregnant. But for men, it's like, holy fucking shit. Holy shit.
yeah.
Like you have been scot clean in ways of getting away with it, right? Until your baby's born. You know, she had to have the whole entire the moment she found out she was pregnant, you know, she didn't know whose it was.
Guys, I saw this horrible story. Oh man, like you want to talk about a story that makes you cry? This guy is like in his, first off, the guy's an attorney, okay? Owns a law practice. This dude is like a baller when, you know, financially, right? He's like 77, 78 years old. His wife tells him, she's like, look, I got to be honest with you. The kids aren't yours. He's got 2 kids with her. And she's like, they're not yours. They're Steve Johnson's. And he's like, what? And she's like, you know, I was going through something, you know, blah, blah, blah. And both of these kids are his. They're not yours. So this guy is like 77 years old, gets a DNA test. Sure enough, they're not his kids, which means his grandkids are not his grandkids. Jesus. And his great grandkids are not his great grandkids. And he's telling this story and he's like, you know, my family means everything to me. And I don't have an opportunity to leave a legacy. Like I can't have, you know what I mean? Like I'm at an age where like I can't have kids.
Jesus.
Like I can't, you know, everything that I've built, everything that I've, you know, all of my memories. He's like, oh, it's horrible. He's like, all my memories, they're not real. Like that's not my family. That's not my son. That's not my grandkid. Like none of them. This entire family that I've built, that I've supported, that I've like loved and done everything for his entire life.
Lineages.
Yeah.
Just wow. That is absolutely atrocious. I am gonna have to shout out Warden who says, well, I'll defend her because of course.
No, I don't say that. Don't say that. Don't read that. Don't read that. Don't read that.
But can everyone else read it?
Yeah, they can see it in the comments. All right. That's crazy.
That is absolutely horrible. And I say kudos to him, not because I think that she is deserving of this, but it is, I will just, in this specific case for this guy, say kudos to him for just making sure she's good. They've amicably, it seems like, separated, because I feel like at that point he would have, anyone in that situation would have every right to hand that baby over to the mother, even though she's just given birth, and to walk out of the hospital. You know what I'm saying? Like, if that would have been the
oh my
reaction,
God. And like, what a realization for that woman. Like she doesn't realize it now,
right?
but she's going to be like, I got this dude over here. The guy has multiple kids with multiple women, the other guy. And she's going to be like, I had fucking Brad who loved me. And
right.
You know what I mean? Golly.
But this is what we talk about all the time when it comes to women. And I mean, you talk about not the bad boy, but you know what I'm saying? When you're just like, oh, like they'll fuck the quarterback, but they ain't trying to, you know what I'm saying? How stupid to have unprotected sex, whatever. People are just dumb. I'm saying, because
well, how stupid to be cheating. Well, no, you're making it seem like it's okay. You're like, damn, girl, wrap it up. I'm like, oh shit.
You are so full of shit.
Morgan over here self-snitching. My wife over here self-snitching. Y'all caught that, right? Y'all caught that. Boy, what? Y'all caught that. Y'all caught that in the comments?
All the time. All the time. You're gonna have everyone on YouTube.
Warden said, yo, they're gonna be like, yo, get up out of there, run, bro. Warden says, definitely self-snitching.
First off,
she said, girl, wrap that shit up.
No, well,
I mean, don't cheat.
I've told you, I'll tell all of you too. Do you know, I said the number one reason why I would never cheat, I love you, but is because I will never give you the satisfaction of being like, I knew all women were like this, because, you know, there's this general consensus that you have when we get to having conversations about, you know, women and how they are and what they do. And I said, oh my God, my pride is so big. I would never give you that satisfaction to ever be able to look at me and say that. You're just going to have to be on the tips of your toes for the rest of our lives together, man. And I will never give you the satisfaction. Ever. Ever.
I was talking Cash Money shit till that comment came out, and now I'm like, you got me questioning my life over here.
Oh, you are so full of shit. You are so full of shit.
Ray says that's grounds for divorce right there.
He should just walk out the hospital. But... or are they talking about us?
I'm talking about you.
Oh.
We're talking about you.
Yeah.
Well, this is awkward. We got to finish this out somehow without it being awkward.
Well, I'm not cheated.
That was Morgan's that was Morgan's that was your version of the I'm not black, he is.
That is so fucked up.
It is. That's your version of the I'm not black. Yeah, right. This dude says this poor guy needs a blanket to hide under.
Oh, Jesus.
Got me out here looking bad in these streets.
First off, I know I ain't cheating. I know you ain't cheating.
I don't cheat because I'm not good at it. I get caught. Here, will you give me one more thing of...
Yeah. I don't know. You tell me stories. It sounds like you've done some sneaky shit, but did you always get caught?
Well, that's enough. When I was in my cheating phase, which was a long time ago, Warden says she's going to create a complete... Bro,
what am I going to create?
Warden says she's going to create a complete cheating guide on how to cheat. Let me tell you something, man. Women, guys, we don't even know. We don't even know the half of what women are capable of. And
I do have a question.
Go ahead.
Where the fuck would I cheat at?
I don't know.
I don't even leave that. There could be 2 weeks that go by that I don't even leave the house. I mean, like...
This is not where I want this conversation to go.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. What was I getting ready to say? See, you
derail your thought process.
Derailed my thought process.
I'm sorry. He said.
Oh, when I was cheating. Okay, yeah. Back in the day when I was living a cheater's lifestyle. When I was really like wilding out, there was a point in time where I didn't care. You know, like when I have all these crazy stories of the shit that I was doing, I was just going on a run. Like I didn't care.
About the consequences.
I didn't care about the
or
consequences. Yeah.
ramifications.
Yeah. It was crazy. So, you know.
You don't believe me when I say I've never been cheated on. You always say you've always said that that's bullshit when you've asked me. And you've asked me, have you been cheated on? And I'm like, no. And I'm like, I don't even suspect. And you're like, like when what's his name worked out of town for the railroad. You're
Oh
like,
my God.
You know, and I'm
Oh
like,
my
no.
God. Yeah. Morgan, she used to date a dude that worked for the railroad. Anybody that knows dudes that work for, let me ask you a question. Your uncle that works for the railroad.
Oh, hold on. I didn't say that that's not normal practice. I know, and especially in that relationship I was in, I knew everyone he worked with, what they did, where they went. So yeah, no, I'm not denying the people did. Like everyone, all the dudes on the railroad were out in all the cities for months they would have to go to.
Morgan's conjecture is that everybody that her man worked with on the railroad would go out of town and cheat, but her man was at home reading the Bible.
I did not say that.
He's at the hotel doing Bible study.
I did not say that.
All right, we're gonna end this stream. I know you got things to do, and I got things to do. Right? She said, Warden says, just because you don't cheat doesn't mean you don't have the skills to cheat. It's just like being in special forces. You can meet someone you wouldn't expect as a trained killer. Same with the cheater. Hey, that's how we'll end this. All right, perfect story. So when I lived in Missouri, this was at the beginning of 2020, I was getting politically involved, and I had some people that reached out to me about potentially running for a position in the Missouri House, right? And so I met with this guy. I don't know what his name was. They were like, "Oh, we want you to meet with Dan Miller." Dan Miller is a veteran. He's a big supporter of I think at the time it was the Democrats. I don't know. Anyway, they wanted me to meet with this guy named Dan Miller. That's not his name. So we go out and we have lunch, and this guy comes in. He's probably 60 to 70 years old, 5'6", very small, unassuming guy. Looks like your grandpa, you know? And we have dinner and we're talking, and he goes, "Are you a veteran?" I said, "Well, yes, sir, I am. I did 6 years in the Air Force, blah, blah, blah." And I go, "Are you a veteran?" And he goes, "I am, actually." And I was like, "Oh." I said, "Well, what did you do?" And he was like, "Oh, I did communications." And we talked about communications and some other stuff for a while. And later on in the lunch, he says, "I worked on a radio system during Vietnam, and it was a new system, and we were trying it out. We were talking about something else." And I go, What exactly did you do?" And he goes, "Well, I was special forces." He goes, "I was a Green Beret." I'm like, "What?" And he was like, "Yeah." He goes, "I actually pioneered the halo jump." He goes, "I was one of the first people to do the high altitude, low opening jumps." And he's telling me about all this stuff. And I'm like looking at this guy, and I'm like, "You're a Green Beret?" And he was like, "Yeah." He's like, "I did 3 tours, blah, blah, blah." And I said, "No disrespect, and I don't want this to come out the wrong way." I said, "But you would come out of a grocery store or a shopping mall or a Best Buy, and someone would see you and they would never know that you were a trained killer." I was like, like they would literally run up on you to rob you and have no idea. And he goes, "Yeah." He goes, "And they would find out the hard way." And I was like, "Man, you just never know. You never know." You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Which, last thing I'll leave you with, that's why when you're dealing with people, so many times I deal with people that are homeless and they are just mentally gone. It's a guy that's just walking around muttering to himself, a guy walking around with his clothes hanging off his body. And people sometimes will see those people and they will just, "Hey, get out of here," grab them. "You get out of the store," walk him out. You don't know who that 64-year-old man is. You know what I mean? You go grabbing up some fucking down on his luck, off the grid Navy SEAL, and you get your arms shoved up your ass. Like, that's the importance of understanding how to treat people and interact with people, regardless of where you find them in life. People don't come out of the womb homeless, unless you're from Portland. I mean, they do that here. But in most places, people become homeless. People become downtrodden. They find themselves in that situation. You never know who you're talking to. You never know who you're dealing with. And that's a great thing to remember across the board. And keep you safe, keep you out of trouble. You know? Yep.
Yeah.
Right. All right. That was a huge range of topics there.
Yeah, that first story is still kind of mind-boggling to me.
Oh, yeah.
But,
Pray for that family.
yeah.
You know, in situations where the police are involved, you get a lawsuit out of it. If there's any silver lining, and there's not, if there's any silver lining to situations like this, if it happens at the hands of a law enforcement officer, there's some recourse for the family. They can sue the city, they can sue the department. In this situation, this guy, even though they're saying he's a security guard, he's not working for a company. There's no company to attach to. There's no lawsuit that you can get out of this, right? Those $1 million payouts that people get for situations like this, where at least there's some semblance of, like, you know, maybe financially we'll be set for a while, you know, in the wake of losing our loved one. That doesn't happen in this situation. So these people are now without their son, without their brother. Their lives are changed. You know, if he goes to jail, is that truly justice? They don't have anything from it.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
And the son who's in his jujitsu class waiting for his dad to pick him up.
He's gonna keep waiting.
It, you know, all of that based on his decisions he made.
Yeah. All right.
Yep.
I think that's everything.
Yep.
All right, guys, like, share, subscribe, support the movement, bonesandbrewsecuritygear.com. I got to get some patches out right now, actually. I think I have to send out some patches. So please go and support the channel. Buy a t-shirt, buy a morale patch. Remember, security guards matter. All right? Y'all take care.
But I got money in the bank, gold in the safe, 30 in the clear. I got more in my waist, done the whole shit. I can let it go to